It just gets harder and harder.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into our live action this afternoon in front of a full house, we thought it only fitting that after his announcement last night that took many people by surprise in the sport, that Stephen Hendry is hanging up the queue for good, that he should be allowed to take a bow on the stage he's graced for 27 years.
You're well known in your golden years for dishing out that kind of punishment. It's a lonely place though, isn't it, when things start to go from bad to worse?
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best place, yeah. But I'll miss it. I'll miss it.
And in that time, he's made 127 centuries, 3 maximums. He's played 90 matches here and won the world title a record 7 times. More than a snooker player, he's one of the greatest sportsmen ever to emerge from Scotland and indeed Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, here in the Crucible, will you welcome the best of the very best, Mr. Stephen Hendry.
So
you've just said you'll miss it. You just said your last match. Is this it then? Are you announcing your retirement?
Yeah, I'm officially retired now from tournament snooker. That's I made the decision about 3 months ago, and I didn't tell many people. I've only told 2 or 3 people. But yeah, this is me finished from tournament snooker.
Is that a difficult decision for you to make, given all the success you've had, to walk away from the sport that you've graced for so long?
I think that he won 5 worlds in a row. He was unbeaten at Sheffield for, I think it was like 28 matches. I think that's just a crazy feat. No one will ever get close to that, in my opinion.
To get to 7, I don't think it'll ever be achieved. I think that will be one of the few records that Hendry will stay with.
It wasn't really, to be honest. It was quite an easy decision. There's a few reasons, you know, which I'm not going to go into in detail, bore you with. But the schedule didn't help. The fact that I'm not playing the snooker I want to play didn't help.
But I think for him, unless he could bash people up regular, he didn't want to know, and he just sort of had enough of not being able to perform. But each to their own.
Okay, all right. The fact that I don't enjoy practice doesn't help.
You can still play, I still enjoy practicing. Each to their own.
Okay, all right. I want to do other things. I've got a lot of commitments now in China, which I've signed up for, and I can't do both. I can't do that and play snooker because I would never be at home. So
each to their own.
Yeah, the time is right for me.
All of the things he achieved, all those wins, Mark Allen pointed out, all those wins in a row, in the World Championships. Don't forget, it was always meant to be difficult to play at the conference centre for the first time. Rowdy London crowd, most people cheering against someone that wasn't from London. And he won that for the first 5 years he played in it, and it was only the 6th year that Alan McManus actually beat him by the deciding frame. So he won it 5 times in a row. And it seemed to me that anyone who played him, if the crowd got on their side and it was against Stephen, it made him more determined. He's very strong mentally.
Sure, he became the sport's most successful player ever, but you didn't enjoy that massive popularity or popular appeal like some other players, like Alex Higgins or Jimmy White. Did that ever bother you?
No, never.
Why not?
I like winning too much.
It's noticeable as well how much support he's getting. 20 years ago, for a lot of people, it was a case of, not him again, but since he hasn't been winning so much of late, they've really got behind him.
There's been times where they've been booed, hasn't he, when he's come into the arena, and now they're cheering him. How things change.
But I used to really spur me on. I like that. I like being, as I say, the hated one, the one that had to, prove everyone wrong.
Yeah, when you look back at his career as well, of course, he retired quite young, or quite early, maybe is a better phrase to use. Do you think that's the way to do it, Jim? Of course, you're still playing, you still enjoy the game.
I think he retired at the right time for him. I wish he'd have kept playing just because I loved watching him play, but that's from a selfish kind of way of looking at it.
But other players have maybe carried on perhaps a little bit too long. But he went out at the top, didn't he? Knocked in a 147 at the Sheffield.
Yeah. And that's the thing about this game. You get the half chance, you have to try and make it into a full one. It's not easy. He's in that sort of mood that he wants to try and win every frame while he's at the table. Is he taking this to the middle? Yeah, that's a great shot. Needs a big bounce though. No, he's not backing away from this black. It's there. Oh, hang on. Don't be surprised if he knocks this in and lands on the black once more. Not easy from there, though. Oh. What's happening? Has he turned back the clock here?
Well, I was wondering if someone had stuck a tape on from 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Has he been in the TARDIS or something? Come back, you know. Oh. Well, it went in and he's in prime position.
Well, he was always a very brave player, wasn't he? And he still is. Doesn't back away from anything.
Wow, what can you say?
Well, it's this black for a third Crucible maximum. Yeah! And that's why he's the greatest. Stephen Hendry.
No, I'm delighted that I've made a maximum here. That's you know, that's why I was, you know, couldn't tell me. That's why I was more animated than normally when making it. It was just I was delighted to do it on my last appearance here. I think I changed the way it was played.
He was like a machine, wasn't he? Really, you know, he's just a potting machine.
I think you know, the way it's played by the majority of players now, the aggressiveness of getting the pack open early, you know, win the frame in one visit as soon as possible.
He was a winning machine, really.
You know, not safety, you know, no safety play or very little safety play. Just going for everything.
And when I remember the first time I played him, it was at the UK semis, and I was like, that'd be quite good.
You know, Willie Thorne said once that professionals shouldn't go for the shots that I go for. So yeah, I changed it.
Stephen Hendry, one of the most successful players in the history of snooker, a divine decade of dominance in the 90s, the Iceman, the golden boy, but the true king of snooker here in Scotland.
Even if it was the craziest shot ever, if I went for it and missed it, it didn't matter, because my opponent would think next time, well, if he's going to go for that, he's going to go for everything. My safety better be perfect. You know, so you put them on the back foot, and that's the way. You know, I think I changed the game. My break building was more aggressive. So yeah, it was. You look at the players that are playing now. That's the way snooker's played by most of the players, certainly the top players.
And you're talking about the aggressive style of your play. How important was it that you got that message across to your opponent mentally to make them weaker?
Yeah,
you just never expected him to lose, really, you know, and just dominant for 10 years.
And he had a strut and a kind of, now I'm here, you can all sit down and I'll do what's going to be done.
Just how tough an opponent was he, Stephen?
Average. No, he was, what all the guys say there.
So he had an extra gear that he could find, you know, when he needed.
I remember hearing a story, and I don't know if it's true, that he won the UK Championship on the Sunday night. Himself and John Carroll travelled through the night back up to Stirling, and he was back in the club at 10 o'clock the next morning to practice.
And that is what they're playing for tonight, the Stephen Hendry Trophy. Neil, let me...
So you retired in 2012 when your game turned for the worse after it was affected by the yips. What happened there?
Yeah, basically, sort of the last 10, 12 years of my career, 12 years before the end, certain shots I would play that I wasn't able to strike the cue ball the way I wanted to. I would decelerate on shots instead of accelerating through the cue. So that shot, I thought, well, that didn't feel nice. I don't like that, how that felt. But you kind of sort of ignore it. And then it would happen again, and you think, there's definitely something wrong here. You know, it's a psychological thing that transmits to being a physical thing, you know, with your right arm, your cueing arm. And then it just got more and more shots as my career went on. You know, again, obviously it's a psychological thing, and perhaps, you know, not winning as much and going down the rankings a little bit affects everything. But in the end, it got to the stage where I was refusing shots, which isn't me. As we just said, I want to go for everything. Positionally, I was playing the wrong shot because I was playing shots to avoid playing shots that I knew I couldn't play properly. So yeah, I mean, in the end, I was completely handicapped by this in playing top snooker.
He's taking a pot on, one to the right of the pink, with a little bit of safety in mind. Wow, what a shot. What a shot. And what about the kiss? Oh, well, look at that for a couple of kisses.
Didn't he deserve that though, Dennis? What a shot that was. Look at this for a pot. Incredible, the shot. It deserves to be a match winner. Yeah, a couple of good kisses, but what did they say? Fortune favours the brave.
I'm still involved. I mean, snooker's basically all I know. So if I can't play, at least I can talk about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, here in the Crucible, will you welcome the best of the very best, Mr. Stephen Hendry?
Yeah, probably a bit over the top.
So a fond farewell to the stage upon which he starred since he was a 17-year-old, and goodbye to the sport in which he set countless records, many of which will never be broken.